Hey, welcome to WorldScope Updates. Subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for more updates. The air is thick, you can feel it, can't you? Something has shifted. It's not just the usual diplomatic dance, the carefully chosen words, the veiled threats. No, this feels different, sharper, more urgent. In late May 2025, pronouncements from the highest levels of the United States government have cut through the noise. They speak of readiness, of resolve, and most chillingly, of conflict. The message directed squarely at Beijing is unambiguous. The United States is prepared to fight and win if Taiwan is threatened. These are not words chosen lightly. They signal a potential paradigm shift we cannot afford to ignore. What does it mean when a global superpower starts using language once reserved for imminent hostilities? Fight and win. This isn't just posturing for the cameras or a line in a policy paper. This is the kind of language that precedes action, the kind of language that defense planners take with deadly seriousness. It suggests a fundamental reassessment of the threat landscape, a belief that the danger of conflict over Taiwan is no longer a distant hypothetical but a looming possibility. The island of Taiwan, officially the Republic of China, finds itself at the epicenter of this escalating tension. For the United States and its allies, Taiwan represents a critical test of commitment to democratic values and a stable, rules-based international order. The stakes could not be higher, reaching far beyond the Taiwan Strait, and the world watches, trying to decipher the true meaning behind these hardened stances. When the United States Secretary of Defense speaks, the world listens. And in recent weeks, the words coming from the Pentagon, particularly from Secretary Lloyd Austin, have been notably stark. He hasn't minced words about China's increasingly assertive posture towards Taiwan. The warnings are direct, pointing to a growing concern within the U.S. defense establishment that Beijing might be accelerating its timeline for a potential invasion. Secretary Austin's pronouncements are based on intelligence, observed military capabilities, and the increasingly nationalistic rhetoric from mainland China. The nature of these warnings suggests a shift from abstract concern to concrete planning. It's no longer just about China's desire for reunification, but about its rapidly expanding capability to achieve it through military means. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, has undergone a breathtaking modernization drive, focusing specifically on the technologies and doctrines required for an amphibious assault and for countering potential U.S. intervention. Secretary Austin's warnings highlight this buildup, emphasizing the PLA's growing confidence and the narrowing window for diplomatic solutions. The question being asked in Washington is shifting from if to when, and what that when might look like. The United States' commitment to Taiwan has a long and complex history, rooted in the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979. This legislation mandates the U.S. provide Taiwan with the means to defend itself. Recent statements from President Biden assert that the U.S. would defend Taiwan militarily. This shift indicates a hardening U.S. resolve in the face of China's growing power. This commitment is intertwined with America's broader network of alliances in the Indo-Pacific. Japan has been strengthening its defense posture and deepening security cooperation with the United States. Australia, a continent nation with vast maritime interests, occupies a pivotal strategic position in the Indo-Pacific. It is a long-standing treaty ally of the United States and has increasingly found itself on the front lines of geopolitical competition with China. Canberra has been one of the more outspoken Western capitals in condemning Beijing's coercive trade practices, human rights abuses, and assertive military expansion. This has led to a significant chilling of relations between Australia and its largest trading partner, forcing a difficult national conversation about balancing economic interests with security imperatives in a rapidly changing regional order. In response to this shifting strategic environment, Australia has made some bold pronouncements regarding its defense. The AUKUS Security Pact, forged with the United States and the United Kingdom, is a centerpiece of this new posture, promising to deliver nuclear-powered submarines to the Royal Australian Navy, a significant leap in capability. The stated aim is to create a more potent and self-reliant Australian defense force, capable of contributing meaningfully to regional security and deterring aggression. The Indo-Pacific region is not just another spot on the globe, it has become the undisputed center of gravity for 21st century geopolitics. Its strategic importance stems from a confluence of factors that make it the primary arena for both opportunity and competition. Stretching from the eastern shores of Africa to the western coast of the Americas, it encompasses a vast expanse of ocean, critical land masses, and a significant portion of the world's population. More than just geography, it is a dynamic tapestry of ancient cultures, booming economies, and evolving political systems, all of which contribute to its central role in global affairs. Economically, the Indo-Pacific is the engine room of the world. Many of the planet's busiest shipping lanes crisscross its waters, carrying a staggering volume of global trade. Estimates often suggest that over half of all maritime commerce transits this region. Key choke points like the Strait of Malacca, the South China Sea, and the Taiwan Strait are vital arteries for the flow of energy, raw materials, and finished goods. The economic health of virtually every nation on Earth is inextricably linked to the stability and openness of the Indo-Pacific. The United States has long recognized the strategic centrality of this region, maintaining a robust military presence and a network of alliances that form the bedrock of its Indo-Pacific strategy. At its heart, the contest in the Indo-Pacific is increasingly framed as one between competing visions for the future. Imagine, for a moment, the intricate dance of the global economy, suddenly tripping, stumbling, and crashing to the floor. That is not an exaggeration when contemplating the potential economic consequences of a military conflict over Taiwan. The interconnectedness of modern commerce, finance, and supply chains means that a crisis in one critical node can send shockwaves rippling across the entire system. A war in the Taiwan Strait would be such a crisis, an event of such magnitude that its economic fallout would likely dwarf anything seen in recent memory, potentially triggering a global recession or even a depression. At the very heart of this economic vulnerability lies the semiconductor industry, and specifically, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC. This single company is responsible for producing the vast majority of the world's most advanced microchips, the tiny electronic brains that power everything from smartphones and computers to automobiles, medical equipment, and advanced weaponry. A conflict that disrupts or destroys TSMC's facilities would create an immediate and catastrophic shortage of these critical components. The ripple effects would be felt in nearly every sector of the global economy, leading to production halts, soaring prices, and a desperate scramble for alternative sources that simply do not exist at the required scale or sophistication. Beyond the semiconductor crisis, a conflict would instantly paralyze some of the world's busiest shipping lanes. The Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea are vital conduits for international trade. A military conflict over Taiwan would involve direct engagement between the United States and China, high-intensity combat across air, sea, land, space, and cyberspace, cutting-edge technologies, existential stakes for Taiwan, and immense escalation potential. It could be swift or devolve into a protracted war of attrition. China has invested heavily in anti-access/area denial, A2/AD, capabilities, designed to complicate U.S. military intervention, advanced long-range missiles, air defense systems, and a modernizing Navy and Air Force. Taiwan's proximity to China provides a significant logistical advantage. The U.S. has unparalleled global power projection capabilities. The fate of Taiwan is not an issue that exists in a vacuum. Its resolution, whether peaceful or violent, will send powerful shockwaves across the entire Indo-Pacific region and beyond. If Beijing were to succeed in forcibly annexing Taiwan, it would be seen by many as a fundamental shift in the regional balance of power, a clear signal that China's military might can override established international norms and the security concerns of its neighbors. This outcome could embolden China to press its other territorial claims with even greater assertiveness, potentially setting off a cascade of instability. Consider the numerous unresolved territorial disputes in the South China Sea, where China claims vast swaths of ocean based on its 9-line, disregarding international maritime law, and the claims of several Southeast Asian nations like Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Brunei. A successful military campaign against Taiwan could lead Beijing to adopt an even more uncompromising stance in these disputes, potentially using its enhanced military leverage to seize contested features or further restrict freedom of navigation. This would directly challenge the interests of many nations and could lead to further militarization of these vital waterways, increasing the risk of localized clashes. Such a dramatic shift in the regional power dynamic would almost certainly trigger a significant arms race across Asia. Nations that currently rely on the U.S. security umbrella, or those that feel directly threatened by China's growing power, would feel compelled to drastically increase their own defense spending and capabilities. The escalating tensions over Taiwan may mark the end of the post-Cold War era, a period initially characterized by hopes of a new world order. Now, a more contested and fragmented global landscape is emerging. defined by a new form of bipolar competition between the United States and China, or a chaotic multipolar environment where various powers vie for influence. Old assumptions about global integration are being severely tested. International institutions like the United Nations face an existential crisis.